And I was helping her and she's like, wait a second, you're a doctor? I said, yeah. She's like, can you be my doctor? I said, I don't know, maybe. I love my job, but it's killing me. I'm 50 pounds overweight. That's killing me. I can't stop eating. I mean, I have more knowledge than just about anybody on the planet. I'm obesity medicine board certified, lifestyle medicine board eligible. I've been a certified sports nutritionist for 13 years.
All right, welcome back to Built for Profit. I am so fired up today. Dr. Mo and I actually just had a quick combo before we started recording. She's like one of the most outgoing people I feel like I've ever met, even though we've only talked for just a few minutes. Super excited to dive into just her business today. I mean, it's so much fun. She kind of gave me a little bit of context about how she serves high achievers. So very excited to talk about that. We talked a little bit about being in the gap versus the gain and where we're at in business. So Dr. Mo, welcome to the podcast. So fired up to have you here. If you want to just give a quick intro to who is Dr. Mo, how did you get the name Dr. Mo, kind of your journey of how you got to where you're at now.
Oh, that's a more fun story, actually. So thank you, Austin, for having me. I have been called Dr. Mo ever since I was an athletic trainer on the sidelines at high school football. My coaches used to call me Dr. Mo Medicine Woman long before I was a doctor.
Love
That's
it.
how that'll age me right there because Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman is a very old show. And so that name has been around since the mid 90s and I grew into it. I didn't go to medical school for a bit after that. I was emergency medicine trained, classically emergency medicine trained. I'm an MD, went to Toledo and went to University of South Florida for palm trees and residency, and I'm
Love it.
not moving back north. So I grew up in Buffalo, and I
Okay.
will not, I'll go visit.
Yeah.
So 3 years ago, I actually created my business by accident.
Wow.
It has acted like that. And I'm trying to
Okay.
take a bird's eye view now. So I'm really excited about this podcast because it allows me to take a bird's eye view of the business and look down and say, all right, listen, can I swear in your podcast?
If you need to.
Yeah. Look at that shit show. Okay? Because look at this thing you created that is an
Yeah.
absolute disaster.
Yeah.
And it's, I initially I called it a ball of yarn because when it gets so tangled that you can't do anything with it, but it's almost like those really fine necklaces where you pick it up out of the drawer and you're like, well, that's garbage. Like there's no way it's ever coming. You're never getting it apart. So I am 3 years into this business and it was an absolute disaster. And that's
Yeah.
100% my fault, right? As the CEO, you built this thing, you trained these people, you
Yeah.
created these systems for better, for worse, and here you are. I had 18 months of revenue dropping
Oh, wow.
to half of what it was when I started.
Wow.
So, by myself, I built it up, replaced my full-time emergency medicine income within 6 months, which was easy. I mean, I just went out, shared my story. People were like, oh, yeah, I resonate. You're a doctor. My first patient. I was in a Facebook group and I was just kind of helping her through stuff and kind of helping her navigate, right? Because healthcare navigation, sometimes it's way harder than like getting a prescription for something.
Yeah.
And I was helping her and she's like, wait a second, you're a doctor? I said, yeah. She's like, can you be my doctor? I said, I don't know, maybe. And that was my first patient.
Yeah. I love it. Okay, a couple of things that I wanna dive into, but just to give the listeners some context, before we dive into the 18 months of revenue dropping and those kind of things, just to give the listeners context. So who is your kind of your ideal client? What's your process look like as you go through trying to, like, engage with that ideal client and get them on board, and what does it look like once they're a client of yours? And just kinda give us a little bit of that
Yep.
background.
So my ideal client is someone who is hopeless. It's it really is. It's me, right? It's me 3.5 years ago saying, I can't work any harder.
Yeah.
I love my job, but it's killing me. I'm 50 pounds overweight. That's killing me. I can't stop eating. I mean, I have more knowledge than just about anybody on the planet. I'm obesity medicine board certified, lifestyle medicine board eligible. I've been a certified sports nutritionist for 13 years. My ideal
Yep.
client is somebody who just looks in the mirror and is like, what the hell? I'm so successful. Why am I so exhausted?
Yeah. Great. I love it.
So,
I mean, honestly, that's such a need out there because, I mean, obviously, well, quick story behind this. I was actually having a conversation with a friend of mine the other day, and they were like, the people that we feel like the world deems successful that we see in the limelight on whatever social media platform you want to be on, is there such thing as a true work-life balance with those people? And the
No,
conclusion is that's the same conclusion we came to, is that, like, you have to sacrifice certain areas of your life to achieve success as the world deems it in those areas that you want to achieve success in. So, can you speak to that a little bit just as even as you're going through, like, obviously, those are your ideal clients, the people that are hopeless and
right.
being like, "Why do I feel this way? I have this level of success, my bank account looks like this," or whatever. And then
Mhm.
kinda talk through what your process looks like to get them back into a operating on high cylinders in every area.
So, I'm gonna backtrack that a little bit because I don't think you can operate in all cylinders in every area all the time.
Okay, great point. Yeah, let's discuss. I love it.
So, yep, you have to optimize, right? You can't just push. We can't be bull in a china shop anymore. I'm too old for that. I can't
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
And I'm about to turn 52. I don't know when the hell that happened. But, when someone comes into my world, my first thing is I've got 2 ways you can kinda well, there's a book coming out. That's for everyone to grab. I'm super excited. Comes out
Let's
that
go.
in less than 2 weeks.
Heck yeah.
It's called Freedom to
Congrats on
Shift.
that, by the way. That's a
Thank
massive,
you. I can't wait.
achievement in your life for sure.
I'm so excited. Like, the first book, it's that one's called Happy First. That one was pretty much me vomiting. Like, that was my, "I need to get this story out. Let's write a book." Okay, great. I've
Yeah,
always
yeah,
wanted to write a book for as long as I can remember, since I was 8 years old. That was the first one. This one is like, oh, this was unpacking this 3-year journey,
yeah.
how my business looks, how it's going, how it affected me, the whole thing, and how to not do it that way, right? Of course, 'cause you how to not take a year and a half to go through an identity crisis, lose half your hair, get shingles
Oh,
when you're
wow. Yeah,
changing jobs, right?
yeah, yeah.
So so when my ideal client comes in, a lot of them come in as patients. So they're like, I'm tired, I'm overweight, I feel like a crappy human. I just wake up with no energy. I'm not excited to be here, really. Do my
Yeah,
things. I'm not excited. I don't wake up with energy. It's just the whole thing,
yeah.
I am not a special snowflake. Everybody gets it.
Yeah, 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 for sure.
So when you come into my world, you have to start with your health. If you're not getting your health on track, it doesn't have to be with me. I don't care. You can't get into my coaching program, that's Elevate. So, health is
Cool.
the doorway. Once you've started that, that doorway's open and you start to see, "Wait a second, I have some bandwidth. Holy cow." Then we go to time and income freedom. We start
Okay.
to really optimize your health. We look at because I talk, even in Elevate coaching, my group coaching, we talk a lot about health as well because where else do you get someone, like, one-on-one for an hour? So,
Yeah,
we do talk about health. We
yeah.
talk about time, we talk about systems. If you've ever read The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks,
Oh, it's on my
um
list. No, I have not read that, though.
oh, that
Yeah.
put it next. Put it
Okay,
next.
okay, cool. I will definitely
Because
do that.
it's about and this speaks to the work life, I call it work life integration,
Okay,
because the goal isn't to work as much as possible, it's to do as much as possible.
that's a great point.
I sh
Yeah,
you know?
love that.
It's to help as many people as possible, and that's your zone of genius, the thing that only Austin can do, the thing that everybody listening, only you can do.
Yeah, so good.
Because there's only one you, right?
Yep,
So the goal is to open up that bandwidth, right? You got to get the biological bandwidth. There's just no, you can't be down in sugar, smoking, drinking a bottle of wine every night,
yeah,
scrolling social media all day on garbage,
exactly.
and letting all your notifications in and
Yep,
expect to succeed. You just can't.
yeah,
Once you get the rocks, I'm calling big rocks in my practice. Once you get the big rocks going, you get a couple of them in place, then you're like, but you start to see. You start to get all this like, "Oh, I can do this."
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then we take that energy and then we do stuff with it. So we get you out of your zone of competence, your zone of excellence. How do I know you're in your zone of excellence? Because you're making money.
Yeah, that's good.
Get you into your zone of genius, then you can scale. That's that hockey stick we're talking about.
Okay. Man, that is so good. I love that you start well, one quick note on this. I've loved this phrase. I heard it years ago, and it kinda speaks to your point, but the phrase is, "Don't give up what is unique to you for something that someone else will do." Right?
Oh,
And so when I think about that, it's like, I am my daughter's only dad. So I can't if I'm trying to buy back my time, I can't give up something that's unique to me because I am her only dad. So I'm not going to delegate that to somebody else. Right. So then it becomes back into this thing that you're talking about, which is like, what is my zone of genius? What is my unique ability? And that's not just obviously in work and like creating the most value I possibly can, but in all the areas that I need to invest. Like Dan Martell talks about, you got your investment bucket and your kind of unique purpose driven bucket as well. So it's like, I just love that concept. I love what you're doing. So I love that health is where it starts because obviously you speak to this more if you want to, but I fully am on the same page with you as health is wealth. And so if you're not, you know, physically in a good place, mentally in a good place, there's no way to like succeed in these other areas. But I'm curious, time. So time is your second
Mhm.
bucket.
Yep.
What can you walk us through that process of like, what are you doing with your clients to understand, okay, they're not operating in their unique ability. How do we buy back time to get them into their unique ability? Kinda can you reveal a little bit of the curtain of what you're doing in that world?
Yep. So, Dan Martell wrote the Bible on it, right? I mean, he
Yeah,
wrote "Buy Back Your Time." I mean,
yeah,
literally. I mean, I have my workbook copy right here that is written on, written in. I mean, this is,
love it. That's so good.
it's beat up,
Yeah,
and that's where a lot of my thought process comes from because my brain works very differently than his. And he hits entrepreneurs, right? He hits people who are already in this space.
yeah,
The people that end up nobody finds me by accident. The people that end up in my world are doctors, lawyers, accountants, people that have I talk the way I say it, and which really is it sounds degrading, but it's not. We get boxed in by the frame around our diploma because we
yeah,
think we're just locked into this is who I am. This
yeah,
is
it's
what
their
I do.
identity. Yeah, yeah,
And one of the very first things I now do with people is I work on their calendar.
cool.
And this came out of an acquaintance, a discussion with a friend. We were trying to plan a night out, and she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't do that day. I was looking at my home calendar, not my work calendar." That so let's talk about that, right? That's you're not two people, right?
That's right,
Like
one yeah,
you have a life calendar. If they're not all in the same place,
yeah,
you will not win.
yep,
Like there's no I mean, and I'll this is a bit of a funny story that my husband, it took him 3 years to learn to use the calendar. Like, he'd be like,
that's
"So, do
funny.
you can we do something at X time?" And I'm like or
Yeah,
I'd plan something, and I'm like, "Well, there was nothing on the calendar." Now, things actually go on the calendar.
yeah, I love it. Yeah, that's right. In fact, I've jokingly and not jokingly said multiple times, my wife and I, half of our communication is just through the calendar. It's like she gets used to it. She's adding things through her phone. I'm doing it. We blend it all together, but it's like
Yep.
such a good way to live because there's no crossover and all the stuff. I fully agree. I love that.
And he doesn't have to see like, this podcast is on the work calendar, he can see it if he clicks it, but he
Yeah,
doesn't have to keep it on.
that's right. That's a great point. I love that.
There are systems for that. He doesn't
Yeah.
have to see what I'm doing all day, every day. Nobody needs to see that.
Yeah, exactly. That's so true. Okay, I love it. So diving back in, you have a quick story about, building over 3 years, realizing the chaos, trying to get out of the chaos, seeing revenue fall for 18 months. Like, can you walk us through, I guess, what you felt like caused it and then what you've done to
Mhm.
kind of dig back out of the hole from there?
I would love to, because what caused it is, well, my systems, number 1. Um, I had trained administrative staff, because I'd read Buy Baker Time in the very, close to the beginning of when I launched the business. And I thought, "Oh, okay, so this is what I have to do." You train people in the admin, you train them, and I hired people to kinda be my eyes and ears on the ground, write prescriptions, care for patients. I still did the weekly meetings and, I am the coach in my practice. I that is the role I want to fulfill, that is the role I am best at.
Yeah.
That's just it's who I am called to be. So, you hire a team. I
Yep.
can't do everything. And I realized that at about 150 patients where my response times got really long.
Yeah.
But instead of mark my words, follow that replacement ladder. Took me 14 months to learn it. Instead of hiring, I hired delivery instead of hiring admin.
Yeah.
I should have hired so think about what I just said. It was taking me 7 days to get back to someone. So I should have hired someone to help me get back to people.
That's right.
I kinda thought I was, but I wasn't. So I hired nurse practitioners to help me because as a traditionally educated professional, that made sense to me,
Yeah.
right? You're a lawyer. Well, I'm gonna hire a lawyer to do the lawyer things because that way I can do other things.
Yep.
But then you do secretary things.
Yep.
That doesn't make any sense. You suck at those. Like, it's not even that it's below you, you're terrible at them. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
it's like what Dan says about, if you don't have an executive assistant, you are the executive assistant, you suck at your job.
That's right. That's exactly right. And let me just pause right here and give explanation for the listeners of that replacement ladder, because that is probably the biggest thing I pulled from his book, being involved with him, like all the stuff. It just gave me so much clarity, like it did for you, Dr. Mo, I'm sure, of just saying, like, this is the system to hire through as you build your business. So for the listeners out there, it's basically there's a ladder of how you replace yourself to buy back your time. Admin's the first rung, delivery slash operations is the second rung. Marketing is the third rung, sales is the fourth rung, and then finally leadership is the top rung at the fifth rung there. And so I love it, Doctor. I'd love to hear from you because I'm currently in that marketing rung in my level of business. I've been running this business for 2.5 years now. And so I'm at the marketing phase trying to figure it out and then hired to buy back my time to get back to the sales phase. And so I'm curious for you, what rung do you feel like you're on in that ladder?
I think so after well, April of 2024, I realized the mess we were in, which is pretty sad because I said, "Wait a second, we're trickling, we're bleeding, we're bleeding."
Yeah, yeah,
To put this in emergency medicine terms, we're bleeding
yeah,
and I don't know how to stop it.
yeah.
So, I started trying to train culture, try to train systems. I did that for over a year. And then I realized it was 16 months. And I realized that I couldn't. So I fired 90% of my staff,
Wow.
which was absolutely heartbreaking because you know as well as I do, or maybe you don't, maybe you're smarter than me. I hired friends. I hired very good
Mhm.
friends because I knew them. They worked with me on the ground. So I knew how good they were.
Yeah,
But the job you do remotely is not the same you do on the ground.
that's
It's
right.
very different. A
Yeah.
startup is very different. It's not a huge hospital system. Just the whole thing is different. I was
Well,
terrible at hiring. I'm much better now. Thank God.
I love it. Yeah.
So,
But for you to have to go through that and actually pull the trigger to do it to help everyone involved, obviously, it's hard to do that in the moment. But yeah, kudos to you for making that happen, laying off 90% and rebuilding from there.
well, yelling at your friends every month is
Yeah.
not fun either. I
Yeah.
mean,
That's a great point.
it,
Yeah.
it made me reactive. Like my handling of the situation was terrible. Like
Yeah.
it was wearing on me. Every time we had a situation, it was drama. It was all drama. Business should not be drama.
Yeah.
Business
It's a great
should
point.
be, we have a problem. How do we solve it? Do we have the personnel to solve it? Do we have the systems to solve it? That's it.
Yeah.
And then solve it.
Yeah. So
So
good.
the way in the ladder, um, I brought on one of my original staff. She's been with me for about 2.5 years now. Um, she was on the lines with my patients. Well, she became my executive assistant because I had watched her
Yep.
work. And I said, all right, let's see. I said, do you want to try this? Because I had already hired an executive assistant, had her for 8 months where I just did her job
Yeah.
because
Gotcha.
she dropped the ball. The day she missed a birthday card from my dad to my son with $100 attached in my email inbox, that was the day she got fired.
Yeah. Yeah. Got it.
I was like, and it's you can find it in the archives, but if you have to chase somebody, she was a great assistant if it would have been a traditional role, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If it
Yeah.
would have been, all I can picture is a 55-year-old guy in a suit with a wife at home who she needs to buy presents for, like, and
Yeah.
make travel arrangements. She was great at that stuff. I
Yeah.
didn't need that stuff. I needed a bunch of other things. So it wasn't a good fit, but I also didn't give her a test project.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I
That's
just
been
hired her
such a
because I
big
was desperate.
Woo. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, real quick, I have to dive into this because you mentioned these things, and it's just such brilliant. That probably is the second behind the replacement ladder. Ever since reading that book, we've done a test project. I'm sure you have as well, but it has been literally what rises the best candidate to the top immediately in his hiring process. So,
Mhm.
speak to that a little bit. I guess have you run the play through doing a little test project for new hires coming on board?
So the best part is I cheated. I have a telehealth mentor
Okay.
who she's been like literally I don't know how I even got in touch with her 4 years or well 3 years ago. She had been doing telehealth for 4 years before that. We've become very good friends since then, but we became friends through work. It's different. It was different. I wasn't trying to rescue her.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
was
yeah.
more like throwing me the buoy, like, she actually came to me in July and said, "I need to fix your shit." And I was like, "Tell me exactly what you mean by that because I
Yeah.
need someone. I need some help right now."
Yeah.
Well, what she did is because her systems had gotten so good that her executive assistant, who's essentially her COO,
Yep.
we hired her. So I hired this consulting team because I knew how my revenue's slowly dropping and hers is just rising every month. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Well, I don't know how you're doing things, but I need to do things the way you do things."
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
instead of giving a test project, I literally watched her business grow and then hired much like when Dan says he hires someone from a different organization,
Yeah.
but she just came in as my fractional COO, so she will hire any new hires we have, she hires them.
Yeah. That's great. And you
So
got to
I don't deal
literally
with it.
see her operate in another business and watch that thing grow. I think that is I've honestly never really thought about that, of you being so much in the weeds of another business to see what one person has done to then literally convince them to come over and help you do the same. That's brilliant. I love hearing that.
And, I again, it's relationships because I had spent so much time and they actually came in to try to train my staff. They spent 6 weeks with my staff, training my staff to fix it.
Yeah.
And then we realized we can't fix it.
Wow. Okay.
And
Yeah.
that's when we had to blow it up.
Yeah, makes sense. But to have a trusted friend like that, yeah, that's pretty powerful. Okay,
Yeah.
so tell me real quick, Dr. Mo, what are you dreaming about? What is obviously you're about to release your second book. You got, what does 5, 10 years Dr. Mo look like? Your business? What are you dreaming?
It's funny you say that because I could not nail it down until 2 weeks ago. And
Okay.
I still can't get
Triple
myself
selection.
to 5 years. I
Okay.
mean, we're supposed to do this exercise where you're looking 25 years down the road. I can see that one, but I the journey in between gets very muddy for me.
Yeah.
I have a 12-year-old, so 5 years well, and I have a 12-year-old that now is in non-traditional education.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
he also 5 days before the school year started, we took him out of traditional school, and he goes remote. So talk about a shift. Like,
Wow.
I'm
Yeah.
100% remote, he's 100% remote, my husband is still working full-time in person.
Okay.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
So my dreams, it's hard because my dreams are always based on a location. We have a retirement location retirement, like I'm ever gonna retire. I
Yeah.
always tell my clients, "Choose relevance over retirement." But
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know how
Absolutely.
else to say it, right? Because people get it, when we will relocate eventually.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
But we don't know when. So my 3-year vision as far as the dreams, right? I've got it nailed down. On a broad vision, I would like to create a brand. I want people to know. I want people to say when they have that bone deep feeling that says, "I can't work any harder, where's Dr. Mo?"
Yeah.
That's what I wanna be that visible because those are the people who have been taught by others that no one is coming to save you, which
Yeah. Yeah.
is the truth. But guess what? I will throw you some help and you can save yourself.
Yeah. 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 That's good. I love, yeah, that vision I think is pretty powerful because really, I mean, number 1 is kinda anyone on the planet that has that experience, but for you, obviously, there's probably a huge, gap to understand, marketing and getting yourself out there even more so people are reading books or all those kinda things. You just come top to mind when people are getting to that place in their life. Yeah, I love that. That's really, really neat. Well,
Yeah,
cool.
I've just
Okay,
watched so
so
many people be
okay.
tired, you know? I've watched so many people be tired or, colleagues tell me that I only have 12 more years to work and then I can relax. And I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
that's not the way this is supposed to work.
Fully agree. That's so true. I mean, I can't tell him in conversations I have the same idea of just like there was this like I got to put in my 40 years of misery to experience the last 20 of what they deemed as good. And when that's when you're at your worst health, at your oldest age, things aren't working like they used to work and all the things.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I fully agree. I mean, you got to build the life that you want to build right now and do it with awesome people around you. So I love that so much. Okay. So tell me what you feel like, I guess, what's working well right now for you? And then what are some
Mhm.
like bottlenecks that you're experiencing and you're still trying to break through?
So the good news is the practice is working very well. Now that the systems are done, we have little hiccups that's life in a business. But the systems, the processes are very solid. I have a team that works well together. I have a couple of different because it's an agency team now, that consulting team that I brought in. I still consider them part of my organization though. We're like one
Yeah.
big Venn diagram.
Yeah.
And my back end tech team that works with my CRM, works with my websites. It's a fully dedicated full-time team. So again, it's one big Venn diagram. That's all working pretty well. That engine, we're back ever since I, blew up the company. We are back on the way up, which is great. We had 1 month where we fell below 1 month out of 3.5 years where we fell below our expenses, what we needed,
Okay.
which
Wow. Yeah, that's
that's
great.
it. Like, I'm
A
like,
lot of
"So
small
cry me a
business
river,"
owners
right? If
can't
I
say
ever
that.
complain, yeah, if I ever
Yeah.
complain, just cry me a river. This
Yeah.
thing's been bootstrapped, there's no venture capital.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I've never taken a month without pay. So, you know
Okay, now that alone, I just gotta speak to that. Number 1, that's rare for small business, especially early on in small business. And what the trap that so many people fall into that we personally, as our company tries to help people get out of this trap is, if you're a small business owner, you should pay yourself from day 1. You do
Uh-huh.
not need to be operating a business and not paying yourself for the first 5 years of business to help get the business off the ground, because if you do that, you're never gonna use to ever taking dividends and profits from the business, and you just build things incorrectly from the get-go. And so it's the whole
Right.
profit first model, the whole concept behind it, but I love that you said that, and I love that you've lived it out, that you've literally paid yourself every month. That's powerful.
Well, my reasoning behind it, especially because my husband is very traditional, is that I could never take it from my family. I was never going to steal from my family to
Love
do
that.
this thing that I was doing. And I didn't even ask to drop a shift in the ER until I was making 2/3 of my income. And I
Wow.
still, because I I am obviously not the most risky person.
That's yeah, yeah.
Um, I'm just not, my husband jokes that my backup plans have backup plans.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have this, what I was making full time in the ER, that's my base salary. That's what I
Yeah.
take every month from the company, and that's in my expenses. So when people are like, I can't
Yeah.
believe it costs you this much to take care of a patient. And I'm like, well, that includes taxes,
Yep.
my paycheck, everybody
Yep.
else's paycheck.
Yep.
Like that,
Profits,
those,
reinvest in the growth, all of it. Yeah.
yes, those are expenses. My coaching programs
Yep.
are part of that expense.
Yeah.
Because
1,000%.
I'm not,
And
those are
you
non negotiable.
yeah, I love it. And Dr. Mo, you are doing something that most small businesses owners I actually just had this conversation with small business owner the other day of they don't think about ownership of the business, that they need to take a paycheck out of the business. They just think that whatever's left at the profit, I'm just
Mm-mm.
going to keep left over, and there's no prioritization of that. It's just whatever's remaining. And I literally had to tell them, like, if you were an owner operator, unless you literally sit on your couch all day and do nothing for the business to operate, you have to pay yourself something out of
Yeah,
the business as
right.
an expense because you're not a true owner because you're operating the business. So anyway, I love that you're on top of that, doing that. That's just fantastic. So speaking of kind of finances, that whole realm, love
Mhm.
what you're doing already. Is there anything that you continue to go back to that's like your metrics or your key performance indicators that are like, hey, if I can just see these things on a weekly or monthly basis, whatever that looks like, I know that my business is doing fairly well. And it can be anything. It doesn't have to be financial related. It could be
Yep.
customer engagement or whatever, right?
So the funny thing is I just shifted all that last week because we used to be a membership model, and now patients only pay us from the practice wise. Coaching is like different animal. But the practice, because that's where most of the nitty-gritty finances have to be looked at. Coaching's easy. I get a client, they pay me, it's there, here's what we spend. I mean, that's kind of that's very straightforward thing. The
Yeah.
medical practice takes a village to run, literally. So we always went on number of patients. So because we were membership based, so that was kind of our metric of, hey, if we have X number of patients, we're doing okay. We can meet our expenses. We can do our things. And it just started to not fit. Almost like when I was in the ER and working for someone else, and I felt like my shoes were too small. I can't, like, it just didn't fit. Like somehow I
Yeah.
love these shoes. What's going? Why don't they fit anymore?
Yeah.
And it kept bothering me for the last couple weeks that we were always looking at number of patients, but then it didn't make any sense because sometimes patients came to us twice in 1 month for, hey, I've got my regular lifestyle medicine concern, and then I've got an urgent care concern. So then we get paid twice from the same patient. I'm like, so it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So now we went to transactions per month, but I'm like, but that doesn't make any sense either because one transaction might be, hey, I just need a quickie prescription. It's 119. You write the prescription, take care of me, and we're done. Or this guy might be like, listen, I need to get my crap on track. I need labs. I need NAD. I need a GLP-1. Let me talk to you about TRT.
Yeah.
So that's a very different patient, right?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So funny enough, 3.5 years into the business, I'm actually tracking revenue.
Okay. Let's
I
go.
mean, it sounds silly, but I'm like,
Yeah.
because I was always like, revenue doesn't matter because look, you've got cost of goods sold and we have pass through. So I've got to pay the providers and I've got to pay
Yep.
for this and I've got to pay for that. So it is revenue because that's my little ego boost number. Let's be real.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
But
everybody's equal base number.
I
That's right.
just need that. I just need to see that.
Yeah.
But also, the more revenue you're getting, the better you're doing. Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So the number just has to be set higher.
That's right. So are you when you're tracking revenue, are you tracking on a per stream, like stream of income basis where you're saying like, okay, this is what this, these medications or these subscriptions, all the different things, memberships, do you have that broken down on revenue or are you just tracking a total number?
I have both. I do
Okay.
have both.
Yeah.
Now, yep, we moved over to GHL in January to February, something, I don't know, to start to get those numbers together. I mean, and it is November and we are final. But again, I was starting to do that with people who were already feeling overwhelmed and couldn't do a good job before. So really it's September and October is I now have my beautiful spreadsheet that automatically gets populated from every invoice and every payment, and I'm like, "Angels are singing."
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's
So,
great. And
took us
so
a while.
and just to give I'm curious for your cadence. So how often are you reviewing that? Is this a weekly, biweekly? What does that look like?
Um, how often am I reviewing it, or how often is my assistant putting it in for me to review? Those are 2 very different questions.
How often are you looking at the numbers to say, are we on track, off track?
Um, believe it or not, actually, as far as revenue, I'm looking at it daily.
Oh, wow.
It's,
Okay. That's
gross
great.
revenue. So I
Yeah.
do, because now we do have the daily email coming in. So I do
Yeah.
Monday through Friday. I don't
Yeah.
my
That's great.
assistant doesn't work on the weekends.
Yeah.
Um, so banks don't work on the weekends,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
makes
Yeah.
no sense because it's computers, but I don't want
Yeah.
I'll get on a soapbox about that. I still don't understand why everyone's lunch hour has to be 12 to 1.
Yeah.
What is this, 1950? Okay, sorry.
I know traditions, they're locked in
It's
for a
tough.
while.
It is tough. So anyhow, yeah, so I really because I do look at the account balances, but really I want to know what's coming in. Because mentally I'm looking, Saturday and Sunday are normally very slow for our business anyway.
Yeah.
But we've had, the past 2 weeks, we've had 3 $12,000 plus days in
Oh, wow.
revenue.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
like, those are I'm like, "Okay, so how do we get more people? How do we alert them? Keep stay front of mind. What are we doing with retention?" So we have a new email sequence that we're putting together, things like that. So that's
Yeah.
the bottleneck is nurture. Nurture and follow-up is 100%
Okay.
my bottleneck.
Okay. And so
So,
are you currently doing that right now? Or who you have a team that you're trying to build to help you
my
with that
creative
bottleneck
director and
going forward?
I are that's a team. We're a team, all right.
Oh, yeah.
Um, I have a full-time creative director. I she needs a new title because she's creative director and head of sales. So she and I because
Wow. For that.
she is truly a partner, in my brand. So she's actually a brand I should probably call her like a brand partner, but that makes her sound like she's an influencer I'm paying.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which she's not. She actually runs a media agency of her own.
Wow.
And
Okay.
my goal again is because the concept behind this is to create a container so big that she doesn't want to work for herself any longer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
So
great. I love
that's
that.
where we're sitting.
Yeah, the vision is big enough where she loves to be a part of it. So,
Yep.
yeah, that's so cool. Okay, I have to dive into that because I've been brainstorming this for a while because I'm sitting in the marketing rung. And sorry, I know we'll
Mhm.
go a little bit over time if you're okay with that, but
I'm good
I'd
as
love
long
to
as you wanna
learn
go.
from you. I'd love to learn from you, honestly, from a standpoint of because I was trying to find what I thought was maybe a unicorn to say, They know how to do social media, they're posting all the content, they're running the play for the marketing media side of it, but then also helping doing the qualifying for the sales side of it, right? So you
Mhm,
just described you have somebody that's the
mhm.
creative director that is also doing the head of sales essentially. So I'm
Yep.
curious, like, have you seen that as a potential to say, like, this is actually, working with the right person, or what gaps do you see in trying to fulfill both of those through one person?
I think it has to be a special person. I think it has to be an entrepreneur, right? It
Yeah.
has to be someone who's drinking the Kool-Aid,
Yeah.
frankly. I mean,
Yeah.
they have to believe in what you're doing, and that's the biggest thing. I mean, it's taken her 6 months to get my voice, roughly,
Yeah.
because,
Honestly, that's
she
not that long of a time, I feel like, just to spend, 'cause, my sister and I have been together for a year and a half now, and so and I feel like she's an absolute all-star, and she probably was at that same mark, but I thought that was early just to kinda be grateful to be like, "Man, she can answer things as me, she knows exactly what I'm thinking 6 months in," so awesome for you to feel that same way as well.
Yeah, it is, and it is. She actually was a patient of mine, and I had to fire my, this is before the blow up,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I did have to fire I had someone that just did social media inboxes for me and was handling outbound messaging and opens, and her awareness of what we were doing, my fault, 100% my fault, wasn't there. Like, it just wasn't there, and I did have a post at that time go viral, and she missed the nuance and was just replying to people. It just wasn't work like, I was like, "You gotta go." So
Yeah.
I was like, "I would rather do this myself than have crappy messages go out."
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So I took it back, and, the woman who works with me now, she was a patient of mine. So she actually knows the journey from the patient side, knows, and she is also, because she has all my team has access to my coaching and Elevate. So she understands what I'm trying to do with Elevate, or what I'm doing with Elevate, but I'm trying to do with my team with Elevate
Yeah.
as entrepreneurs is, how do we make them bigger? How do we
Yeah.
make them, I have big dreams here, so
Yeah.
we gotta
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay,
So,
you're blowing my mind a little bit today because honestly, even the concept of saying somebody has walked through our experience as a patient/customer that is now trying to recreate because they experienced it and have a way to make it better,
mhm,
and voice it and understand it and verbalize it. That's really, really powerful as well. I never thought about trying to recruit our existing customers as
mhm.
people that need to join the team to
I
make it
did it
better.
out of desperation because
Yeah.
I was actually I was doing a lifestyle, like a habit management bonus call, coaching
Yeah.
call for my patients one day, and she was the only one who showed up. Out of 1,500 patients, she was the
Wow.
only one who showed up. And I was like, "Wait a second. What do you do for a living again?" Because I remember her talking about it on another call, and she
Yeah.
told me, and I said, "Do you want a job?"
That's awesome.
There was no test project. There was no nothing. It was
Hey,
I
when
was like,
you know sometimes, right?
and that was it, because it was I kinda knew, and because she would ask me questions, even like, "Your staff sent me this message, and I don't understand it. It's not very clear."
Yeah.
So that's really good feedback. If you look at your client base and you say, "All
So
right,
cool.
who in my client base is a marketer?"
Yeah.
Or, who does this brand awareness? Because that's really what it is. It's a brand awareness, because they need to know who Austin is
Yeah.
and what you do. They need to know everything about what you do. They need to, annoyingly, they need to know that I love going to Disney World. I mean, it's
Yeah.
so silly, but one of the next frontiers I am going to conquer is, I need to get my very basic health information to people who love Disney. It sounds silly, but when I walk around, I see a metabolically, epically unhealthy population
Yeah. Yeah.
that they're going to suffer, and I don't want them to suffer. Heck, they're my Disney people. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't want them to suffer.
Yeah.
So I'm like, "Nope, I'm gonna help them."
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. I love the vision for that. Hopefully, yeah, if you can get rid of a ton of those food stands that are down in the Disney
Well,
parks.
but now here's the kicker. You just outsourced your confidence. You just threw it as an external locus of control,
I know
because are you
you're
gonna
touching
still
me
do the
up right
food
now, Doctor
supply?
Mo. I love it.
No. By the way, I'm still eating a churro, hate to tell you, but But you're not I mean, how often do you go to Disney, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
That
right.
that's
You're
not
not
your
there every week.
everyday thing. You need to l
Yep.
or, like, my first meal of the day at Disney is mostly nutritionally sound, almost every day when we go,
Yeah.
because it starts my day out again, it's just
That's right.
it's
All right.
big rocks, start the day
Yeah.
well, and sometimes I'll choose healthy options in the p but not really, let's be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
at Disney, I'm not going to.
Yeah.
I get a crap ton of steps, I get
Yeah.
again,
And you
it's
plan for it. Yeah, yeah,
you plan for it, and you
yeah.
enjoy it, and instead of getting 3 meals for 3 people, you get 1 or 2, and then you assess, "Do we need dessert?"
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I love it. Okay, Dr. Mo, I feel like we could chat for hours, but to kinda wrap up, I'd love to is there anything that we haven't talked about yet that you're just, like, fired up about, something that you're excited in this season? Anything along those lines?
My biggest things because it's November, and if this podcast comes out well, if it comes out even after the 1st of the year, don't make this year look like last year for people. I just want people
So good.
to just understand that you don't have to live the same Groundhog Day 6 months. You
Yeah.
just don't have to. You can make a change today that yes, we always joke in my house, I ate a salad and I'm not skinny tomorrow, it pisses me off.
Yeah.
Yes, it does take some consistency,
Yeah.
but you can make a change that makes a difference.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I want people to my whole mission in life is to create safe spaces for people to grow and be.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Love your mission. Health is wealth. It's that's super powerful. I love it. Okay, so where can people find you, Dr. Mo? What's the best place if they wanna reach out? Where do they go?
Best place to find everything I do is shiftwithdrmo, DRMOE.com.
Love it. That's awesome. Well, Dr. Mo, thank you so much for having this conversation with me. Absolutely, I loved it, and I appreciate you being on.
Thanks for having me, Austin. It was great.